Hello everyone, and welcome to the first developer update for the Soul Device 2. Now, the Soul Device 2, as the name implies, is a sequel to my first game, the Soul Device, which is currently available on Steam, but I did a community poll recently to see if anyone would be interested in seeing what I've been working on recently, and got a lot of feedback saying, yeah, people would like to see what I'm working on. So this right here is a developmental build, footage not final. But basically, this whole area is an area I've constructed to showcase how one of the mechanics works, and I'll be doing a series of videos showing off the different mechanics and abilities the player can get in the game. But this entire area here is specifically handcrafted to showcase the Soul device specifically. There are other devices in the game, those will come later. So first of all, this is this little area that starts in the room. The visuals in the game are not final, so like the wall here that it looks like a basic metal panel, and like the grass is just plain green. The visuals will definitely have some touching up before the final product releases. I don't know, maybe not. Visuals are the one thing I'm not super good about on game design. Anyway, on to the gameplay, which is, for me, the most important aspect. This right here is a door button. This is a lock button. This unlocks doors. So these doors are locked. You can see the red light, but when I push the button, they unlock. So typical stuff. So this room I have custom made to showcase the Soul device itself. And now what the device did in the first game is it shot a projectile that went forward in the direction either horizontally or vertically, hit a wall and created a platform. But in this version of the game, the Soul device instead creates a beam to create platforms and does this. Now, the player can aim based on where the mouse is looking. You can see his arms are moving and the device is turning, and this is based on where the mouse cursor is relative to the player. So I can aim using the mouse and create platforms like this. And a mechanic returning from the first game is that you use your own health to create your platforms. But these platforms are fully solid, and you can walk on them. And the right-click function, as I just used there, is Soul Erasure. So these blocks do need to be attached to walls. So basically, I can build out and erase back. And if at any point one of or part of the wall that you have built is not connected to a wall, it will decay. Now, in the first game, soul blocks decayed over a period of 10 seconds. In this game, they last for 30 seconds. So if I build this wall, it will last for 30 seconds or until I erase it. And you may have just seen right there real quick that the soul beam went through the wall real quick. That's actually a minor bug I'm still working on with my hit scan algorithm for hitting walls. But I have a couple ideas to fix it. There's still a few minor bugs here and there, but the game is in a workable state right now, which is nice. But there's definitely still a lot to be hammered out. But yeah, so this room is just for showing off the Soul device, and I also don't have death implemented, so you'll see if my health runs out, it just goes back to full. But yeah, this is the main feature of the game, the Soul device, and you can create platforms with it. So without further ado, on to the next room. So this hitbox right here is meant to represent an NPC. He will actually look more like the player character, but a little more distinct, but you can talk to him. And this one in particular opens the upgrades menu. And so these are the different upgrades you can get for the Soul device. And so the one I'm going to get right now is the quick build. So in the actual game, I'm planning the quick build to be a required purchase. And you can see my material went down. This is basically what you use to purchase upgrades. So in the tutorial, you will get 5 material, and you will be asked to purchase the quick build. Now, the quick build is a cool little feature because if you middle click on the mouse or press the C key, you'll get this little cursor that comes up. And so it's red now, but if I hover over a wall, it turns green. If I go into the wall, it's red again. The red or green indicates whether the placement is legal. And placement of what? Well, soul node. And then you'll see as I've placed one, I now have an indicator of where I'm going to build to. So I click again, the player will automatically build to that location. There are a few stipulations on this. You can't build through the player, you can't build through walls, you can't build through soul walls, and if the angle gets too steep or the player loses sight of where the node is, he can't continue building it. And if you have the quick build in use for 30 seconds, the original node will decay and the quick build will end. But this is going to be the player's best way to design all sorts of platforms for ease of movement. Whoops, let's try that. So this room, you'll notice I have to go up a little bit. And so I can now use this to point things out on the map. Over here, we have the door. To be honest, I don't know if you can see the mouse cursor or not. Looks like you can. Okay. Anyway, but over here, we have the switch that opens the door over here. So, standard mechanics, you can get straight to it. Just hit the button. Now I need to get over there, but I don't want to try too hard, so I'm just going to quick build myself a bridge. And that's only one way to do it. If I quick build from here, I can also do that. However, with that, the angle gets too steep, you'll notice, and the player can't continue on. So if the player loses, the player has a certain amount of line of sight. So like this angle would probably be too steep, but this angle would not be. But it's decently generous. All right, so here we have a drop. Now I'm going to jump down this and show what happens. So right there, the player's HP probably dipped all of the way. I'm still fine-tuning fall damage, but if you fall too far in this game, there is fall damage, and it stuns you for a moment. So when I hit the ground there, I wasn't able to move or anything. So what I'm gonna do now is go back up and showcase a little bit of how you could potentially jump down this. And yeah, if he lands in, if the character lands in a spot like this too small, he will bug out a little bit. I'm still working on the collision just a little bit. The player won't wind up in any walls or any game-breaking stuff like that in the current state, but I still need to fine-tune that so that he doesn't get stuck in walls. Like if I do like this and then like this and then jump into it, he'll probably, yeah, hate it. So anyway, so I have another upgrade menu here, and this time I'm going to buy Sprout Beam and Clear Beam. So these are, I now have all the upgrades for the Soul Device. So the reason I bought Sprout Beam is there's a button in here that I need to hit. But if I walk in here, there is a turret, and you'll notice the turret is shooting bullets at me, and those bullets are massively decreasing my health. So a bullet deals about, I think, 30 HP to the player. Right now my HP is set to 25. And the QB up here, by the way, is for quick build. That icon will likely change in the final game. Before I continue, I should probably explain what these indicators are up here. So the indicator, there's obviously the HP bar. The second indicator here is the player's current device, which is the Soul Device because it's the only one I have unlocked right now. The bar underneath it is the player's fall meter. So basically, if I go up here and jump, you'll notice it starts to fill green. And if it crosses that little white line there, it'll turn red. If it does so, the player will take fall damage past that point. Increasing fall damage, the faster he falls. And then the last meter is the player's force meter. Basically, this changes based on the proximity of the mouse to the player. The further it is away, the more force the player will put into certain shots. This isn't relevant for the Soul Device, but it will be relevant for devices in the future. And then, of course, there's the quick build icon that comes up when I'm using quick build. So what I could do is I could do something like this, and that would block it off, or I could use this. So the Q key is currently set to cycle through the Soul Device's options. You can see up here it's changing as I push the button. So I guess I'll go to the menu and explain these real quick. So I've talked about quick build, and Soul Beam is the main thing. And then at the bottom down here is the right click function. But Clear Beam projects a semi-transparent platform, and Sprout Beam quickly generates a short wall. So what Clear Beam does is it builds out of what's called a barrier. So there's walls and barriers. Walls are solid and you can build off them and nothing can pass through them. But barriers, on the other hand, are permeable by everything except the player. So I can shoot soul walls through these. If the enemy were to shoot bullets at me, it would pass through here. So like if I do this, beep beep. Yeah, so the enemy's bullets are passing right through this. Basically, this allows you to do things like bridge over a gap or something, and then aim down into it with the Soul Beam. Now, Sprout Beam is actually kind of useful in this room in particular, because what I can do is this. And what I'm going to do really quick is I'm actually going to pause the game. I just programmed the pause menu recently, go to Settings, and turn on the targeting reticle. Now this is going to help me aim a whole lot. So now you'll see that there's this little circular thing right around my mouse, or just in the direction of my mouse on the closest surface that I'm aiming at. So this is going to help me aim a lot. This is on by default or off by default. I haven't decided yet, but it is immensely useful regardless. So now if I go in here, beep, I'm going to delete that. Beep, beep. Yes, it is a funny little sound effect the turret makes. That is a placeholder. Beep, beep. So now I can do that. And if I were to hit the turret with this, it would actually break. Soul walls work on a nodal system so that I can break them anywhere in between. So they're made up of circles that are connected by rectangles like these. And so you can break any one. So if any node is sitting on top of an enemy, it will break. Beep, beep. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this again real quick. And now the enemy is completely contained. It cannot see me. Turrets have very weak AI like that, but they're also pretty powerful in later variations. This is just a basic turret. There are 4 variations that I'll probably get into in later developer updates. So this is an elevator. Elevators in the first game had a button that you pushed, and the elevator would then proceed to move to up or down depending on whether it was already up or down. But elevators in Soul Device 2 are controlled with the up and down keys. So I can control this elevator freely. So I'm going to take this up. The elevator's maximum distance stops here. And so right here, this was a hatch that was closed. It opens and closes at the push of a button, unlike the door that's over here, which unlocks at the push of a button. So I can go in and push this button now, hit that, and now that door over there is unlocked, as denoted by the green indicator. So I'm going to once again quick build over to it, and then I can just walk right over to the door. All right. So here I'll take a moment to talk about the types of walls. Right now I'm walking on a metal flooring. The wall over here is a stone wall. The properties are identical, except the player will make different sound effects when stepping on them. So you'll hear right now he's making a metal sound effect every time his foot hits the ground. All sound effects are currently placeholders, but I do like the way some of them sound, and they might make it into the final game. So what I'm going to do here is, to make things easier on myself, is I'm going to use Sprout Wall to do this. And I'm just going to jump over to that, erase this a little bit, and use Sprout Wall again. And I'm just going to jump between. Oh shoot. Whew, that was close. Always good to jump for that extra height. Oh, being clipped through the wall again. Alright. I have now reached the ground. So this right here is what's called a mystic wall. Mystic walls are a mystic door. Mystic doors function like regular doors in that they're solid. The reason behind these is that these are more for use in non-developed areas of the map I'm going to be building for the final game. The main difference between regular doors and these is that these function as barriers. They're not solid. You can still shoot through them. This right here is a crystal switch. Crystal switches function like regular switches, except once you turn them on, you can't turn them off. So once I hit this, it glows, and that will glow for the rest of the save file. So this room is going to showcase what else you can do with the Soul device. Aside from just building things for the player, you can also block things. Right here, we have a laser coming from the left side of the room to the right side of the room. And so this here is a crystal laser emitter. And on the right side of the room is a crystal laser receiver. Now, when a crystal laser receiver receives a laser of any type, this right here is a blue laser, which is a harmless laser. And it cannot be blocked by the player, but it can be blocked by player blocks. So what this receiver here is active, and if it stops receiving, it will become inactive. So what I can do is I can block that off. And that is now inactive, and this door has opened. And now that I've blocked it off, this door here has appeared. It is closed. And I've also programmed it so that if you stand in a doorway and the door becomes active, it won't solidify until you step out of it. Same thing with regular doors, they won't close on you. So yeah, so by blocking this or unblocking this, these doors swap. However, this crystal switch here is tied to both doors. So now both those doors are permanently open, and blocking the switch won't do anything. So this room here is to showcase another feature of the Soul device, which is reflection. So the Soul device is a beam, and just like all light, it can reflect. The ceiling here is made of crystal. Crystal is a reflective surface in the Soul device, as well as ice. There's no ice in this area. That is for the Smelt device showcase, but crystal is reflective. And as you can see, there is a wall here and a beam here. So the puzzle here is to pick an angle and do this. There we go. I am currently working on making it so the targeting reticle will reflect off of surfaces and show where you're actually going to hit. And one problem with this is that the erasure beam does not reflect off of surfaces, so if you miss, it can be kind of hard to get rid of your blocks, or you have to wait a little bit. Oh, yep, there's one of the bugs. Oh well. I'll fix it eventually, and it's not super detrimental to how the game plays right now. But anyway, yeah, so I have unblocked this. That wall has shown back up. Block it again, unblock it, the wall shows up, disappears, and this switch is tied to it. Flip that. But yeah, and so soul beams can reflect up to 5 times. Yeah, so you can do that. You can do this. And the beam will adjust depending on your aim. So yes, I've created this mess here, and I can just hit it with the erasure beam real quick to clean it up a little bit. On to the next room. So this puzzle is a little bit trickier, but the same concept basically is that you want to reflect the beam from the player to the ceiling to the wall to this wall. And so if I angle this just right, there we go. So if I do this, then this door opens, because this door here is also tied to this crystal network and closes when the crystal stops receiving. So block that, that opens up, and hit this crystal. And those are now open. And that is the end of this room. This takes me back to the main testing room, which I will not be showing off in this video because it has all sorts of mechanics that I'll be going on after I cover all the devices. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're looking forward to the eventual release of this game. I am working hard on it to make sure it is a fun game to play. Good mechanics, good puzzle design, good world design, more lore than the first game, and a bunch of other things. So, thank you all for watching.